Welcome back to Peter Tuffley with another hat on. You haven't got a hat on, Peter. But this time representing the Beckenham Neighbourhood Association.
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. We are a neighbourhood association, and some might say that perhaps we ought to stick to our knitting and mind only our neighbourhood's business, but we've never been parochial in our view of city affairs. So while we are addressing some local issues, we're also taking account of the fact that what affects the city as a whole affects our residents as citizens. No neighbourhood is an island entire of itself, as John Donne might have put it. The foremost of our local concerns is to do with the River Heathcote. We live in the Beckenham loop of the Heathcote River, which is part of what makes our whole neighbourhood so attractive to live in. And yet, last year, the flooding showed that the picturesque character of the river has a threatening aspect as well. In fact, those floods caused a huge jump in the membership of the Beckenham Neighbourhood Facebook group from a pre-flood level of 270. We got 100 new members in a week, and now we have over 1,000. And there was considerable hardship within the loop, and in view of that, we would urge the council to expedite work on effective and realistic flood prevention and mitigation measures for our river as well as for the Avon. We also have a concern about local pollution, not only from emergency overflows of sewage, but also since the earthquakes, the Kashmir stream, which is a tributary of the Heathcote, has had a lot of silt into it as a result of seismic activity, and that finds its way into the Heathcote and adds to pollution. So we're very welcoming of the envisaged reinstatement of the Heathcote River and the Kashmir stream on page 58 of the consultation document that's been put out. And we would also urge, as a general issue that affects our river as well as others, we would like to see reinstatement of the city's sewerage infrastructure expedited as much as possible. Another concern related to the river is the way in which there's a sense that our river has been a poor relation of the Avon because the tourists don't see it. We had one enhancement project canned 10 years ago, the Heathcote River Vision, and this time around, the Mid-Heathcote Linear Park Master Plan, which was all ready to go before the earthquakes, was suddenly defunded. And we would like to see restoration of funding for that plan. We realise that this isn't a good time to be asking for money to be spent, but one local saving, among others, that we would suggest would be deferring of repairs to the Beckenham Service Centre and Library and Learning Centre complex, because it's working at present. It's not noticeably broke, and we don't think it needs to be fixed right now. In fact, we would very much prefer it weren't. That could be deferred, we think. On a citywide front, we have always been opposed to the selling off of commercially owned commercial assets that are owned by the community. We note that there was applause at a local meeting recently for expressions of opposition to that, and we see it as something that should be regarded only as a very last resort when all other alternatives have been exhausted. And what concerns us about the LTP is that it doesn't strike us that there has been such an exploration of alternatives, and that the underlying thrust has been acceptance of asset sales, and that the public has been led to believe, mistakenly we think, that the only alternative is between massive rate rises and asset sales. We think there's an alternative strategy, and we've made several suggestions about how spending could be, we think, beneficially pruned. We had some agonising over the town hall, which is quite one of the things that the government did not impose on the city council. We would be quite happy, we would be prepared to see that mothballed for a few years and then revisited sometime in the future. In the meantime, saving the expenditure envisaged on it. We note the government's recently announced deferral of $1 billion's worth of capital projects, and we would encourage the council to follow that lead in considering other deferrals. So in conclusion, we have considerable misgivings about the proposed asset sales, and we would urge the council to leave no stone unturned in the quest for alternatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Phil?
Thank you very much, Peter, and also for your ongoing support for the Beckenham community. Peter, I just want to ask you about the Mid-Heathcote linear plan, and you've also referred to the concerns about flooding, and I'm just wondering if council can put in money for that plan, would you be happy with the focus being on the waterway, the river as a waterway, and in effect starting by fixing the river from that perspective?
Yes, indeed. We realised that it would be silly to embark on beautifying the river before all the other aspects problems have been solved first. So yes, other things have to be done first, but that plan, what we're wanting is a firm commitment to realising that linear park plan, which was all ready to go before the earthquakes hit us.
Thanks, Peter. My other question really is about deferring the library works. About how long do you think, or what sort of time period are you referring to delay the rebuild? And then, of course, that's assuming that the building remains safe for people, but what sort of time frame would you be thinking?
Absolutely. It does depend ultimately on geotechnical and structural issues, and on the assumption that there is no perceived worsening of that, we would say, let it go until after 2017.
So not outside the 10-year plan?
Pardon?
Still within the 10-year plan?
Yeah, but...
could we put it out till 2026?
If it holds up that long.
Yeah, but obviously that's a given. But that's the question: is can we put it off the 10-year plan?
In terms of as it's servicing people now, if it was to service people in the same way, would 10 years be possible?
Yeah.
Subject to, as I said, to geotechnical and structural issues, remaining more or less the same. Why not?
Right. That's great. Yep, one question.
Just quickly, because original was in your written document, you know, and this oral revised document, one issue you didn't mention regarding to you suggest cancel the proposed widening Lincoln Road because you consider concerned with split the Eddington community. Whether this the no more happen or you still thought this is an issue?
Well, as you know, it is outside Beckenham, but we do have a sense of solidarity with people in a nearby neighbourhood, but also we saw that as another opportunity for saving and you know, we know what happened to Sydenham when Brougham Street was widened, and we're aware that there is unhappiness within Addington about the prospect of the same thing happening there.
That's great. Look, thank you very much, Peter. Good to see you again so soon. And we'll now